Hey there, Omaha. Welcome into another episode of Restaurant Hoppen. I'm your host, Dan Hoppen, and I want to start this podcast off with a little bit of an apology to the good people of Las Vegas, because about 13, 14 months ago this time, they were the ones who were enjoying pizza from Izzy's Pizza Bus. But then the bus moved here to Omaha, and they no longer get this glorious pizza. But this is kind of one of those sorry, not sorry scenarios, because it's so delicious. I'm not really sorry. I'm super happy that you guys are here. And by
Sorry
you guys,
about that.
I mean the creators of Izzy's Pizza Bus. We've got Brett and Cherish Geiger as my guests at the second Restaurant Hoppen live podcast. Guys, welcome back to the show.
Thanks,
Thank
man.
you.
Thanks for having us. Yeah.
Yeah, let's cheer for him. There we
Let's give
go.
it up for Dan for doing this. It's awesome.
It's all about you guys. It feels absolutely crazy. I had you guys on the show one time, right after
One
you came to
time.
Omaha. I hadn't even had your pizza at that point. Now I'm addicted to it. So I think this show will be a
Good.
little bit better.
Good, we got you.
So actually, this podcast is happening at a very interesting time, because just 2 days ago on Saturday, we're recording this on June 12th, so June 10th was your 1 year anniversary of making the move from Vegas to Omaha. I mean, so much has happened in those 365 days. Does it even feel real? Like, how much has gone down in that short amount of time?
Not really.
No.
No. It's like 4 years of stuff jammed into one. Not even really one. Like, well, it was a couple days from now. We'll have been here a year.
Yeah, that we officially arrived
And
in
then
town.
I moved
yeah.
here and got COVID and couldn't work for a few weeks right away. So that was a nice warm welcome. But yeah, so it's not even been a year. It's been crazy. Yeah, it's definitely proven that I think we made the right choice.
Oh, for sure.
like it.
Without a
Yeah.
doubt. So what I think is so cool to see is Izzy's has been a lifelong dream for you guys. You both went to culinary school. Brett, you went to Tony Gimignati's pizza school. Oh, wait, no.
Yeah.
Not at all. This was not on the radar at all for you guys' careers. Cherish, you were a teacher. Brett, you were working as a sound engineer for Cirque du Soleil. Like, where did this love for pizza come from, and how does two people with those random backgrounds end up starting a pizza food truck?
Just like to have fun. I don't know. Life's too short to take it too serious, really. And I've somehow, I don't know how, but always been blessed in just being able to have fun for the most part. I just pick a job that I want to have a good time at and go for it. And so far, it has worked out. So I don't know. It just, the whole pizza thing just came from a love of pizza, like straight up just a love of pizza. At the time, it was like, I don't really want to go pay for it. I'd like to just make it like every day at home, so it's a little cheaper, so I can eat it all the time. So, I mean, that's where the business aspect part of it came in. But, I mean, look at you. You love pizza, right? Go back to being a kid.
I do love pizza.
We love pizza, right? Just comes from that, too.
And just to be clear for everyone, when we talk about loving pizza, for National Pizza Month, that's October, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You guys got pizza, if not every day, almost every single day.
Sometimes more than once.
These are professional pizza lovers on a whole nother level.
Yeah, it's not even just like, it doesn't have to be the perfect pizza. We just love pizza, you know? Like, I mean, I'll eat almost any of them, really. It's just the love of the product itself. And then you learn something from each one you eat, too, whether it's bad, good. Like, there's so many styles and so many products and so many ways to make it. There's always something to learn from it or take away. And worst case, you ate pizza.
That's a pretty good worst case scenario. Yeah. So, Brett, on the last podcast, we kind of talked about how you had this love of pizza, but this creation of you actually experimenting with pizzas, it came because you worked at night as a sound engineer for Cirque du Soleil, like we talked about, and Cherish was gone during the days working. So you're just like, well, I don't have a lot to do. Let's just make something productive of my time. But so a lot of people have hobbies, but they don't turn them into a business. At what point, like you're cooking pizzas, you're experimenting, you're having a good time, you're starting to figure stuff out. At what point does it become like, hey, maybe this is more than a hobby. Maybe this could be something real.
It was mostly just cooking it for friends all the time, honestly. It wasn't really an idea. It was kind of like two things. Working in the corporate world, some people enjoy it. Some people definitely very much dislike it. So you start thinking of different paths to take, and that was part of it. The other part was just like building the bus and all that, it almost was kind of like a boredom situation. She would have been mad if I just sat around the house and didn't do anything all day and then just went and spent money and all these things. So I'm
May as well make a food truck out of a bus, right?
I'm like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to be bored. I'm going to be out doing stuff all day. Let me buy a school bus. It's not that expensive. My mom hooked me up with the money for it. Thanks, Mom. Good looking out, Mom. Yeah, Mom paid for the bus, bought it, started that, convinced her it would definitely be worth it. I would at least sell it at worst case. So keeps me out of trouble. I stayed at home. I worked on a school bus for a year.
Cherish, what was that conversation like when Brett's like, I think I want, and not only just buy a bus, he went to Seattle, flew to Seattle, bought the bus, and drove it back before converting it into a food truck. What was that conversation like? I mean, were you just blown away? Was it excitement? What was it?
Honestly, I was just like, whatever. It's one of his like crazy schemes that
She was like, whatever.
Brett is very good at looking for something to do and starting it and sometimes following through, sometimes just like, whatever, I'm done with it. So I just kind of figured, well, I guess we'll see where it goes.
And
She's like, it didn't cost us as much money as Mom bought the bus. So.
It's been a good investment. And what has the transition been like for you, going from teacher to basically full-time pizza cook?
Yeah, it's a little weird. COVID happened, couldn't teach. Vegas wasn't really even doing much online teaching, so I hopped on the bus and started helping out, and then it just blew up over COVID, and we decided, well, I guess I'll just stop teaching and do it. Miss teaching a little bit here and there. I still get out and sub. I got my teaching license here and stuff, so I get out a little bit, but this is much more fun.
There's something about being your own boss and doing your own thing and, like, creating, like, I don't know. I think she sees it now, too, like, I mean, I didn't see it before, but especially since we moved here, it's just something's like being created. So it's more than just a job, especially for us, where we're the owners, we're invested with our whole lives into it. So
gives us a lot more freedom too.
It's different than just going to a job for sure. Like anyone that's done their own business or even had their own little like whatever their idea that's taken off. It's just really cool to see it somehow blossom and just ride that wave while it's there.
Okay, we have gone way too long. We've gone about 10 minutes here, and we haven't even acknowledged the star of the show, the name behind this place, and that would be Izzy right there. Can we all give it up for Izzy? So that's for obviously Brett and Cherish's daughter, and she is the reason that we are all here tonight. She's the reason that Izzy's Pizza Bus is here, because you wanted her to, Cherish, you grew up here in Omaha, and you guys are out in Vegas, but wanted her to grow up closer to her grandparents, which I just love. And I think that that's just such a pure intention and a good reason to come back. But I'm so curious, because you guys had established something in Vegas. Like, you were legit. People knew what Izzy's Pizza Bus was. You had clientele. You were selling out. And when you move, you got to make all kinds of changes. You got to build that fan base all over again. You have to find suppliers to get your cheeses and your flours and everything from. You got to figure out, where are places where we can park the bus? How is this all going to work? Like, that's so much change. What were those conversations like as you were talking about what are the pros and cons of getting Izzy back closer to family? And I mean, you guys get to be around family too, not all about Izzy, versus...
I mean, it is. But.
Okay, it's all about Izzy. Versus, we have something really good going in Vegas. Are we sure we want to risk that?
It was pretty scary.
Yes. I like risk. I built a school bus into a pizza kitchen. Right? I'm down. Like that goes back to me. Just like life's too short. I'm just like, let's just do it. Whatever. There's jobs out there right now, right? We were like, there's jobs. If it doesn't work, again, I'll sell it. Like if it doesn't work, it's like whatever. We have a mobile business though. It's on wheels. And at the time we lived in an RV. It's on wheels. Like we can literally do anything we want, we just go. So, I'm like, why not? That's part of the plus of the family being there, too, is that they're there for us to fall back on. They've been nice enough to give us a place to live for a while we build everything up here and still, figure out where we want to live and all that, because we're still new, so.
Yeah. Super scary, but big leap of faith, and luckily people pulled through for us, and it's just blown up. So
she has more reservations than I do. I knew it'd work, though. She's wanted to move back home for a while anyway, so I was like, fine, you talked me into it. It's the one place we haven't gone yet. Let's just go there.
I love that attitude of just, hey, let's just give it a try and see if it works. So, I mean, Sarah, what do you think? I'm kind of passionate about opening a pizza bus. Are you cool with that? As long as mom and dad pay for it?
I found one with a roof raise. It's like way tall. You'd fit.
Perfect.
So I'm not sure about it.
That's the biggest thing, right? I might develop kind of a neck lean from doing that all the time. So I promised I would let you, Brett, nerd out about pizza a little bit on this podcast and get into the science behind it, because I know, pizza's delicious, but it's a very, very technical thing, especially when you're doing Detroit-style pizza. So first, you guys specialize in Detroit style. Can you guys just run through the main characteristics of that style of pizza? I mean, everybody who's in the room right now is eating it. They understand what it is. But for people who are listening, or maybe even people who have had it just for the first time, what are the characteristics that define Detroit style?
Yeah, 70% or more hydrated dough, so that's how much water is in it versus flour.
And how does that compare to like a New York style slice?
I think they're anywhere between like 55 and 63 maybe.
So
a lot drier.
Significantly higher, yeah.
Yeah, and then the tavern style thin crust is even lower than that, and all these things. But a little more of a hydrated dough because it then, as you proof it in the pan, it's going to, in theory, it's going to proof that dough up nice and airy and get it a little bit bubbles in there. Try to make it a little puffy cloud type of pizza. So the water's a requirement. The pan is a requirement. The brick cheese is not really, there's like rules on every style of pizza, but our interpretation is a brick cheese mozzarella blend. We just like it. It's come out really good, and really happy with the blend we used lately. And then sauce on top, whether pre-oven or post-oven. We put it on post-oven, post-bake. I just have a fresher flavor for us. But otherwise, that's another characteristic too. So, yeah. Water, pan, cheese, sauce on top.
Are you going to not talk about the best part?
Something else.
The best part is that caramelized cheese crust. That's the best.
That's just what comes out. That's the end result for sure. Yeah.
Just that caramelized cheese. It gives it a little bit of sweetness, so much texture. Like, Sarah can attest to this. I eat your pizzas like a monster because they come in squares. I will eat out the middle, so I just have like the edge pieces left, so I can end on the best bites. I feel like a maniac when I do. Like, that's probably my serial killer tell. I don't care. I want to finish with those bites of pizza because they're so good, and that's what makes Detroit style different. I mean, there are several things, but to me, that's like the biggest differentiator is you don't get that style of crust on any other pizza.
No. Yeah, and it's not perfect every time, I'll never make the perfect pizza. That's the fun part of the chase. But when it's cooked right and you get that, like, it's kind of crunchy, kind of gooey, kind of chewy, that's the goodness right there.
Yeah.
And we like to cut ours in 4 just so everyone gets that corner too. Mm-hmm. Typically, unless someone asks, we'll cut it smaller, but we just cut the one pizza in 4. Everyone gets the exact same corner slice. So.
Nice. So, especially back in your experimentation days before you opened the bus and everything, you've made all kinds of different pizzas. You did not specialize in Detroit style back then. What was it about this style of pizza that really kind of stood out to you and sang? Because I know Cherish was not on board at the beginning.
That's why I looked at her. I was like, she wasn't even down at all at first.
No, we were going to do thin pizzas, and Brett discovered the Detroit style at a local place in Vegas, and he was like, oh, this is super good. And I tried it, and I was like, I don't really know. Nah. But we tried a couple more places and played with ours a little bit, and I kind of was like, well, maybe try this or whatever, and we did, and I was like, all right, now I'm feeling it. But yeah,
it took quite a bit of development.
Yeah.
We were going to do, I was messaging you. I showed you a picture of what I was going to sell, and I won't show it down here.
It's not quite as beautiful as today's rendition.
That's what
we'll just put it that way.
Everyone was like, it still tasted great, but everyone was like, you should sell these, you should sell these. I built the bus based on those things, and now we're making these, what you see now. But it took a few, I remember one specific day, it was a dark day in Vegas, which means and at Cirque, which means there was just no shows. We were just there to work. So I was in the kitchen just cooking a pizza, and I had like this starting to get a little bit creative with things. I made some kind of garlic creamy sauce on there, and I think it was the first time I started playing with like ricotta on the pizza and stuff, and I made this pizza at work. And it was like this perfect day, and we took it outside, and we took these photos by the palm trees and everything, and like 2 or 3 people at work were like, oh my God, when they ate it. They were like, whoa. And I was like, you know what, you're right, this is pretty good. I should start making this kind of pizza more often. So, yeah, I just had one pan at the time. Just fell in love with it and bought one pan just to try it out. But I have 120 of those pans now, of the size we use now. And then we have like 12 large pans and ones. 22 small pans and a couple other different size pans. So, yeah, it's taken off.
Pizza empire going.
Trying.
Are you still experimenting with the dough all the time, or have you found like a pretty consistent recipe?
Yeah, lately I've been sticking to the same one for at least multiple weeks right now. The weather is changing everything, so it's another thing I had to really adjust when I moved here. Is the humidity is totally different, clearly, than the desert. So making dough, very, very weird. Lately I've been, in the summer I'll take the water down and the yeast down because the heat and the humidity kind of make up for all that stuff. So yeah, every single time, pretty much. The past few weeks, I'd say, feel like I'm hitting something that's pretty good. So we've been kind of sticking with that. So yeah, I don't know. It's a chase, like I said, every time. I'm never gonna make that perfect pizza, so I might as well just keep trying new things. And I'll always find like a new flour, or a new yeast, or play with the sourdough starter, or make a poolish or something like that. More pizza nerd stuff, but. Can you talk a little bit more about that changing climate? Because I think that's something, before talking to you, and honestly before talking to some bakers on this show, I never really thought about or realized, is not even talking about the move from Vegas, which is so much drier, to here, which is so much more wet and humid. But even just the difference between making a pizza on like a spring day where it's 70 degrees and maybe rainy or whatever, to just a dry 95-degree summer day, like that affects what you do to the dough. That affects how you cook it. Can you just talk about that a little bit? Because that's something that really opened my eyes. Yeah, everything. Even the start of our day, right? Like we go in at kind of whatever time is needed to get the dough out of the fridge, or unless we have other stuff to do. But like everything comes down to how warm is it outside or in the kitchen to get that dough out of the fridge at the right time. So then anticipating, it's going to sit at room temp for X amount of hours, then it's going to go in a pan for X amount of time, and then it's like really trying to, we're checking the weather all the time. I even got a new weather thing in the bus with humidity on it, everything, to start trying to track all that stuff, because it all affects it. We don't know. It's really hard to track, and I don't know, we're not masters at it by far, but we're just trying every single time. And it's so weird because we don't have a climate-controlled place. It's like we throw it in a bus and we figure it out from there. So whatever it is outside is what we're doing. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I try to look ahead every time I'm making a new dough, and just, do I need more yeast? Do I need more water? Do I need to let it get out of the fridge longer? Stuff like that. It really changes every single day for us because we don't have that controlled environment except for in our commissary kitchen. So. Which is Trucks and Taps, by the way. Yeah. I was just about to mention that, because I have done a very poor job as a host of not mentioning where you guys are usually posted up at. That is Trucks and Taps off 108th and Q. Yep. You'll usually be there Fridays. We're there like 2 or 3 days a week. It kind of depends. That is one hard thing with our thing. We're a food truck, so we always tell people we do get out and about. We can't just stay in one spot, unfortunately. But what's great about you is you update your calendar very consistently every week, usually every day. If you're going to be somewhere, you're like, hey, come out to Beer to Brewer tonight. Come out to Trucks and Taps, wherever it might be. So follow Izzy's Pizza Bus, especially on Instagram, Facebook too. But both, Instagram, I'd say, you're probably most. I've been trying to do more. Omaha's a Facebook city. I've been trying to do a lot more on there. Pretty active on there. So. Yeah. One other thing I want to make a note of is Detroit-style pizza is not synonymous with deep dish pizza. So often I get that, like, I try and describe Detroit style to someone, they're like, oh yeah, that's kind of like deep dish, right? No. I was like, I see if style, deep dish is there. They are, Detroit's over there. Yeah, they are wildly different. I just want to make that differentiation for anyone who's listening. Yep. Let's talk about ovens. What type of ovens are you guys using? How hot do they get? How hot you want to turn it up, Dan? Well, I mean, like, okay, what do you cook at? Maybe that's a better question.
Not the maximum heat.
We go around 500 right now.
Okay.
So yeah, it's pretty hot in there. It's a propane deck oven. There's 4 different decks. We usually just cook on 3 of them, which holds like 22 pizzas. So cooking 22 pizzas at once is already enough. I don't really fill the 4th one up at all. I call it a triple decker when she gets me on that 3rd one over there. She gets making them pretty fast sometimes. So yeah, we just propane deck oven, propane tank on the back. I got one that just fits in a bus all nice, and the propane usage isn't crazy, so we're not paying too much money. But yeah, it's a nice oven. I dig it.
You guys have found a really nice vibe where Cherish is the one who's kind of working up front, and she's making the pizzas, and then she's passing them off to you, and you're putting them in the oven, then you're bringing them out and finishing them and cutting them. How did you decide that was going to be the rhythm and kind of the flow between you two when you did the bus full time?
What are you laughing at?
I smell a good story here.
Well, Brett has a very hard time keeping his mind on one track, so having him up front.
Brett?
You probably noticed that already right now, right?
Having him up front was, he did fine making pizzas, but he gets very distracted by the people outside and starts talking, and then making isn't happening, or he forgets one or something. So throwing him in the back by the oven where he's kind of away from everybody was a good plan, because it's a lot easier for him to stay focused.
Still
and
is a
not
good
get
plan.
distracted. We both are pretty good at either spot.
She's very, very organized. So I leave her in the front to get everything in the right place at the right time and all that. All I have to do is make sure, hopefully, I don't burn them. So that's easier for me. I'll come up with all the other stuff. I cook them. She puts them together awesome. So yeah, she's been doing that for a year, more than just on the make
strictly
for at
on
least
the make,
a year.
About a year now, yeah.
Maybe more. So she's rocking it right now.
Oh, yeah, it's a partnership that is absolutely working. What is it, do you think, that makes Izzy's pizzas stand out from other Detroit-style pizzas? Do you feel like there's something unique about your pizza where you're like, that's kind of our calling card?
Everything, really.
Yeah.
There's a billion ways to make pizza. The pizza community is another thing I'll talk about, too, which is cool.
Let's talk about it.
It's very open and sharing. I'll give you all my recipe. I really don't care. I'll just give it to you, because it comes down to the process and the temperatures and the times. Cooking is time and temperature, right? So same with dough, making pizza and all that stuff. I can give you every single thing that I use, but it won't come out the same. The same oven, the same room. Maybe you're using a different flour. Maybe you made it a different time of day. Everything's totally different. So really, as you know from being a pizza nerd yourself, you'll go around town. Every single one tastes different. There's so many good ones around town. But you could all use the same stuff, and it's always going to taste totally different. So, yeah, just that. And then coming up with our own thing. I blend flours just because I like what it comes out, the protein level we're going for and the flavor and all that. But also it just makes it unique. No one else is probably blending the same 2 flours we are, the same way we are. Same amount of water, same brand of yeast, same 2 cheeses that we mix together, which is probably very unique. So, yeah, it's just how you design it, really. I just have gone down a long list of testing of, trying this thing, buying cases and hundreds of dollars worth of things and being like, nope, don't like it. Got a case of pepperoni in the fridge right now if you want it.
We got room for that in the fridge at home, I think.
You're a pizza guy.
We can always make room for pepperoni.
But there's just things I kind of like this one more than the next one. So yeah, it's part of that hunt we already talked about. Just keep going.
Yeah, we just keep hunting for better ingredients and seeking. Costs have gone up, but we're still seeking out those quality ingredients, which I think is a key factor too.
It's definitely a key factor.
We're not cutting costs. Oh, prices are going up, so we're just going to go with something cheaper. We just kind of dealt with it and keep that high quality in, which helps make it what
and
it
you get
is.
those comments too, I get it. I'm not trying to make cheap pizza though. There's already places that do that on purpose, and it's just not what we do. So yeah, like she said, just get the quality stuff. You can tell in the flavor, and I can tell when I cook it. Even the like I was saying, the pepperonis, the ones we stopped using versus the ones now, they even look completely different when we cook them. I like cooking them more, so I can smell them in the oven versus those nasty olives. Gross.
Go ahead.
Just every little piece of the pizza journey, I feel makes every pizza place unique, really.
Okay. You just gave a shout out to the Pizza Alliance. So I want to talk
Metro Omaha Pizza Alliance.
There you go. I want to give a little bit of love to David Lasole, who started that, and just all the guys who are a part of that now. Just this pizza community, you would think like all these different pizza places, they're competing for business, because when someone says, I want to get pizza tonight, they can only go to one place. So you would think all these people are in competition to try and get that person. But you guys have come together and started this thing called the Metro Omaha Pizza Alliance, whatever you just said.
Yep.
Where you guys will get together, like 15, 20 of you. Yeah, you're getting together at Dante tomorrow night and just talk about pizza and share ideas, share recipes. How unique is that, and just how cool is it? Like, what have you learned?
Awesome. That's just another cool thing about having moved here, is that David has set something like that up and invited us in, and it's been really cool. We just go and a bunch of the pizza owners in town, like all the shops you guys have probably heard of. We don't do the chains or anything like that, but every one of the local shops, like everyone's involved and invited, and we just talk business and meet and greet, and if there's any like problems going on or any things anyone wants to discuss, news, whatever.
Take shots of olive oil.
Take shots of olive oil last night.
Yeah, I know.
We did, yeah. Some wine and some olive oil never hurt anyone. A pizza meeting, right? It's just a collective thing. It's like there's no offense to any of the other food industries. They work, harder than I do for sure. A lot of people, but there is no like that I know of. There's no like cheeseburger alliance. Like it's cool that pizza has like this club where everyone's willing to share information and share things and just talk about things and be together, because everyone is unique. And yeah, you can only go to one pizzeria, but I'd prefer you go to a pizzeria in town somewhere and then somewhere else, and then you'll be like, oh, I just love local pizza. I'm going to go check this place out and this place out, and just find out what's good around town. So
There's some great ones out there.
Yeah,
to me, I'm yapping too much. You're not doing anything. Sorry.
Brett always yaps too much.
But your overall point, there are so many great pizza places around town. Like
we're not the best. I'm never claiming to be the best. We just try to make what we like. I'm glad other people like it, but as a pizza alliance, that's just the goal, is like just to push the word of local pizza and just try to make sure everyone knows that there's some really good, awesome local places out there with families just trying to make a living and serve really good stuff. So
I want to talk a little bit about you guys' creativity, because you offer some pretty basic pizzas on your menu. You've got just the straight pepperoni and hot honey, kind of like a combo. You've got those, but you also, I've seen you put Nashville hot chicken, bangers and mash, Scotch egg on a pizza. I was scrolling back through your Instagram. That was really fun, by the way. Also made me really hungry. But you put jerk chicken on pizza. You put caramelized apples.
Shout out Ryan on the jerk chicken.
Jardinera, elote, like all wild flavors of the food spectrum.
I missed that elote one.
It looked awesome.
So good.
But what I love about it is it's not like you're just making your normal pizza and then just like throwing some ingredients on top of it. Like we see so many places doing like crab rangoon pizza and just kind of throwing stuff on top. You are still like thoughtfully thinking, okay, how do these ingredients work with our base product, with our specific dough, our specific cheese? How do you take some of those, kind of wilder ingredients and find a way to incorporate them with what works for you?
Testing at home, eating a lot of pizza at home.
Not as much as we used to, but
back over the winter, there was a week straight there where we tried like 5 or 6 different pizzas in 5 or 6 days, trying out some different toppings. And we like this on this one. We should change this up somehow. That's kind of what we do. Or we look for stuff in season. Back towards the end of summer, I think last year or early fall, we did the peach pizza. We're like, peaches are in season.
We got to do that again.
Do some peaches, and what we'll go with those. I think we ended up doing some prosciutto and balsamic with it. So
something else, yeah. She's come up with a lot of good ones too that we haven't even totally come out with yet. Working on a few here and there as we get time, But she's got some good ideas.
What's been your favorite one that you've created, Cherish?
We did it. I would have to say, the peach one's up there pretty high. But we did one in Vegas. We called it Fungus Among Us. It was mushrooms and balsamic and prosciutto and burrata.
Oh, yeah, the burrata.
Come on. That sounds awesome.
Creamy mozzarella soaked in mozzarella.
Creamy mozzarella soaked in mozzarella?
That's burrata.
Oh. I don't know the science behind this. I just eat food. I don't know how it's created. I'm just like, oh, food is here. It tastes good.
Burrata is so good.
Okay. I just learned how to make burrata. Learn something new every day. Okay. I want to take you guys back to the very beginning. Your first post on Instagram, you said, winner, winner, pizza dinner coming soon to Vegas. This was June 22nd of 2018.
You went all the way back?
Wow.
It took a long time to scroll
Seriously?
all the way back. Like, it was like 5 minutes of Instagram scrolling. You post a lot. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
I put work in for you, Brett.
See.
So it was about a year later that you got your July 22nd of 2019. You get your certification from the health department. What do you remember the first time serving out of the bus? Your first event, where was it and what was it like?
Poop my pants.
What a filter you have.
I said poop.
I suppose so. We keep this PG.
Oh man.
Is that the one
Yeah, I have
that
my
Smith's?
buddy from Cirque du Soleil. You want to come make pizzas with me? He's like, I've never done it. Sure. So he and I are planning to go to Smith's grocery store or whatever that is out here. It's like Baker's or whatever.
Baker's, yeah.
Same type of thing.
Same place.
They used to let you rent a space out front. So I paid my $30, and I was like, sweet, we're going to go sell a few pizzas today. The health inspector told me, I'm not going to show up on your first few days just to let you, like, take it easy, because I was chatting with him the whole time I was building and everything. Cool, sweet, thanks. Go to start up the bus, and the generator won't start. It's completely dead. So I messed with it for, like, an hour, and I'm like, well, I'm already an hour late. This is awesome. So I'm like, well, we'll just go. I'll take an extension cord. It's a grocery store. I got to find an outlet somewhere, like right by a soda machine. I found one, so I stole their outlet. Plugged in. I was already an hour late. There's like 10 people out there because I was bragging about it to all my friends. Oh, we're going to open up. So at that time, not really understanding dough all that well, really, and the Detroit thing was new to us. Like, I'm like, okay, we're going to go and I'm going to shred cheese before we open, and I'm going to pan dough before we open, and I'm going to get all this dough ready before we open. There's already a line of people out there. I'm shredding cheese by hand on this thing, panning dough, which takes hours. So I don't know what I was doing, like a half hour before I was supposed to sell it. Yeah, just like people are just waiting. I'm like, I'm sorry, it's going to be another hour. So I'm like, all right, finally, I think we can start selling pizzas. Cheese done. Everything's done. Oh, hello. Health inspector pops
Oh my
right
gosh.
on. Dude, I'm like, for real, right now, dude? Right now. Took me another half hour. Luckily, gave me 0 marks. I was on top of my game. I was brand new. I was like
Nice.
so nervous. So everything was, no big deal. Still is, by the way. Yeah, so everything pretty much that could have gone wrong in those first few hours definitely went wrong. Some of my friends just left without eating. It's like, I gotta go to work. Sorry, dude. This old guy saw me building the bus one day and like came by, and he was way mad that I wasn't serving yet, and all these. I'd planned my day for this and all these things. So yeah, it was an interesting day. But I sold maybe 10 pizzas, and I was like so excited. Yes, someone bought some pizzas, and then I went to Cirque that night and just bragged about it. So.
So what did you learn from that first cook? Like, it sounds, a lot of stuff went wrong. You learned a lot. How do you go home? I guess you still had to work, but how do you come home from work, decompress, and be like, okay, I need to make some serious adjustments for the next time I do this?
That was the cool thing about that job, is I just sat there and almost did nothing all the time. So that's where I created the whole business at. So I just went to work that night, and I was like, all right, game plan time, and just kind of like, wow, that was a trip. It's cool. I made a few dollars, but yeah, time to start thinking about how it actually works.
What was the feedback on the pizza themselves?
I don't remember. Hopefully not good that day. Hopefully good, but I know that. Yeah, I know what they looked like. Hopefully there's no photos of that one. I'll send you a photo if there is one.
Okay. We'll do that.
I was just glad to,
private.
I was just glad to get through that first one. It wasn't like an awesome opening day thing.
Kind of a soft open type of
Yeah,
deal.
it was just.
The first few were a little rough.
It was a straight up chaos fest. Yeah, I showed her a picture the other day of some food truck stuff you learn as you're going. I never worked on one before. I just built it and went about my day. So I didn't realize that everything falls when you're driving. So I've got the roll of paper towels totally came out, and there's just like giant cloud of paper towels in the back of the bus. The trash is over. The oven opens when you're driving, and it's like 500 degrees. So I'm driving on the highway, and it's like 500-degree heat.
And you can't cool it. You can't go shut it. Yeah.
So I've got this heat pumping on me, and everything's falling. I was like, oh, this is awesome. The fridge opens, sauce pours out. So, yeah, it was really good.
Fun times.
Lots of bungee cords ever since then. So.
Okay, I want to go back to something you said because I think this is really important. You built the entire bus yourself, basically in like a year. Like you bought this thing and it was a shell. What was that process like?
That was fun, right? That was good.
I didn't do very much.
She didn't do much. I had a good time. I just drank a bunch of wine out there and installed a bunch of stuff. Yeah, my dad helped with the floor. My buddy Jim and my buddy Rich helped with the electrical. Otherwise, I did everything myself, all of it. Lots of YouTube, lots of just trial and error, tons and tons of trips back and forth to Home Depot and Lowe's and all those. Yeah, I don't know. It was a really good time. I kind of want to build another one. I've been talking about it.
You have been talking about it.
I've been thinking about it. Yeah, I think the next one would be really cool because of what I learned with this one. But yeah, I don't know. I don't remember your original question where that was.
I don't remember my original question either.
Just to tell you, it was awesome to build it. I had a really good time. I just had a school bus in my driveway for a year, and I was just like hanging out on the roof of a school bus, drinking beer and painting it. Or you know, maybe my next day was like, oh, I just get to cut seats out of a school bus and throw them out. I had a handicap lift on there, the big handicap door, so we would just get on it and just ride it up and down. Izzy would ride it all the time, right?
I think the number one lesson I've learned from tonight is I need to go get a job with Cirque du Soleil. You're talking, your days are just drinking and building out this school bus and making pizza, and then you go to work and think more about pizza, and sounds amazing.
I worked at night and they paid well.
There you go. I had a question that I was going to ask, and now it just slipped my mind. It probably wasn't very good.
New buses, new things. You asked about that a little.
So, Cherish, you mentioned the first couple times that the bus was out, kind of rough. Not the best product. At what point did you start to nail down the processes and figure out, like, okay, this is how I work on a food truck. This is how we make sure everything is bungeed shut. This is how, I pre-shred cheese instead of doing it right before service. Like, when did you start to get those processes down?
That was a lot of him. The first, not quite a year, I don't think. It was mostly him because I was still teaching full time, so I would just hop on and help on the weekends. So it was a lot of him figuring stuff out. I think the real big jump was when we kind of decided, all right, thins are not going to work on here. We need to pick
we ditched the thin crust, and
go with it. So we ditched the thins, went with the Detroit style. I think that was a big step in the right direction. Just the one that stands out the most in my head is when we did a job for Izzy's dance studio, and it was July.
Oh man!
And it was like 112 degrees outside, and we literally had people standing outside for 2 hours waiting for pizza because we just did not know what we were doing. And
that was our legit first day.
Yeah, that was. I felt really bad for all those people.
We just did a fundraiser thing. Shh.
I'm seeing you guys have PTSD in your eyes right now. You're just like,
that was a
day.
really rough day.
That day.
I felt really bad for making all those people stand outside. We did not expect it to go the way it did, and people were waiting outside. And I think that night was a real eye-opener for us to just okay, we need to really reevaluate what we're going to do, what we're going to offer, how are we going to, approach who's doing what on the bus, how are we going to tell people wait times, things like that. And we've gotten all that pretty nailed down to a pretty exact science, I feel like.
I think so. I think what I think about it all the time lately is what's cool is we don't have really any experience doing any of this. We're just kind of winging it the whole time, so we've created our own processes and our own ways of doing things that are probably unconventional in a lot of other ways. As you might see sometime, the way I'm cutting dough and things like that is I'm sure no one else does weighing dough and panning things and stuff the way we do, but it just comes out of necessity and just how we operate. It's just everything is worked out. So yeah, everything down to where she is in the bus to
even how we handle our wait times. I mean, some of that I pulled out from teaching experiences. Like, okay, we need to organize this. If you peek inside the bus, we have a tally sheet there with all of the times and broken down into 15-minute blocks, and we know how many pizzas we can make in 15 minutes, and that's how we offer our wait times, and I can't even remember when we started with the whole pager system. I think it came from being at all the bars and tired of screaming for people.
We were at Tenaya Creek Brewery, and a lot of people there wanted us to come in, like all the time, this brewery in Las Vegas. They wanted us, can you come in and let us know? Can you come in and let us know? It's like, I'm so busy. There's no way I can do all this. I'm buying pagers. I just went on Amazon and got some. But that's been a real lifesaver, too, as long as they
Definitely.
work.
Yeah.
But the wait time thing used to really bother me, though, until she figured out this whole checklist thing, too. We've done a lot of math and figured out exactly how many pizzas we can make, like, every 15 minutes, so we can give someone a realistic time, just because, I know I get hangry, dude. I know how it is. So if you're just told, like, oh, it's going to be, like, 30 to 45 minutes, and maybe it's, like, 45 to an hour, it's like, I get it. I totally get it. I'm not trying to make anyone wait, so we're really trying to, like, nail that process down and just give people realistic expectation, hopefully. So
you guys have clearly nailed down a lot of your processes. I appreciate that you used Vegas as like your guinea pigs. You got everything figured out. You became experts.
Got it out of the way.
And
Thank
then you
Vegas.
dumped
Appreciate
them
it.
and came up here, and we got to experience it. So forget Vegas. We're not going to talk about them anymore. I want to talk about Omaha, because when you guys came, you had like a kind of a announcing that you were leaving Vegas post and just how emotional that was. And that was shared in the Omaha food community, especially on Omaha Food Lovers. Shout out to Stacy Winters, who's here. But I mean, that post blew up, and everyone was super excited. I'm not gonna lie, I'm just a pizza nerd, so like I just follow pizza places all over the country on Instagram.
Another one.
Yeah, so I saw that and I was just like, yes, I'm in for this. But it's one thing for there to be a lot of hype and for people to say, oh yes, we're so excited about this. This pizza looks awesome. It's coming. But then for people to actually come out, because you guys, your first time open, you sold out in 40 minutes. What was that like to not just get the external buzz, but to actually have everybody like flood the bus as soon as you were open?
Crazy.
It was a little crazy, yeah.
For me, it was a huge relief because I was very, very nervous about moving my whole business and whole life here. And I was like, man, if no one buys it, I'm hosed. Like, I'll go get a job, like I said, but like, man, I prefer to just keep doing this.
Yeah.
So yeah, as soon as we pulled up and there's people waiting there, and then the next few days happened, I was like, oh yes, just keep going, please. Yeah, it was a big relief for me just on a business level because I didn't like Detroit Pizza. There's only the one other place here doing it, so I didn't know how many people were really gonna dig that style and all that. Yeah, it's been awesome. It's been kind of surreal.
What are some of the biggest differences between Omaha diners and Vegas diners?
That's a tough question.
Man, I don't really know, quite honestly. Like, all of our customers everywhere have been really cool. Anyone that comes to get our pizza. There's those few spots in Vegas, like if you're down like towards the Strip, everyone's partying and drinking, and they'll get a bit mouthy, which I don't really like. It's not really what I'm trying to do with my night, is hang out by those people.
Yeah.
There was some of those places that kind of bothered us, but good, honest, awesome people in all places that just keep coming out and supporting us and just enjoy what we're creating and understand what we're trying to make and that we're not just trying to shove out pizza to make a buck, So everyone's been really cool in both places, honestly, on that level. What
is the wave of food truck life like? Because there are times where, you guys are selling out, and it might be 2 weeks straight where it's just sell out. You're just like, it's like a zombie horde swarming the bus. Everybody just wants some. But then there are leaner times too where maybe the weather's not great, or it's 4th of July weekend or whatever it might be, where you have those times. How do you kind of keep yourself even during those up and down periods?
It's been a lot of this. I mean, I feel like since coming here has been the times where we've experienced that the most, with winter and
fluctuation, weather.
Vegas, it was fairly consistent most of the time, but here we did have to deal with that. Winter obviously was a much slower time for us, so we took that time to practice with some new stuff, play around with some new ingredients. We balanced out some of the lack of work with me subbing. That way, we still had some income coming in.
We did like bus work. I ordered pans. We just kind of did some of that background work.
We also
just while we had free time.
We upped our amount of online ordering over the winter. That way, people didn't have to come and stand around in the cold. So it's just been a learning game, figuring out what's going to bring people out, even though it's negative 20 degrees and there's a bunch of snow on the ground. How are we going to still bring people out? And it's just
even that, like what temperatures can we even work in? We have thresholds. It's either too hot or too cold. Like the oven doesn't work right, things like that.
Yeah.
Or we're just risking our health out there in the heat kind of things. So, I don't know. We're not perfect at it, of course. We're learning every day. But I think we knew that the first year was going to be like, what's even the weather like? What are the patterns of people coming out and stuff? So it's just an adjustment, but we just ride it and go with it. And however next week seems it's going to be, we'll just go with it. I don't know.
You gave the big shout out to Trucks and Taps earlier, and it was sometime last fall that you guys moved in there and became part of the permanent rotation of trucks
December,
that
finally.
pop up there.
I've been bugging them for like a year. Finally let me in.
Why was that a game changer to have that as kind of like your central hub?
Well, you have to have a food truck commissary anyway. You have to have a licensed kitchen to prep out of anyway, and you need somewhere to park. We had we were parking at home just because, to my knowledge, there's no rule against it, but a neighbor complained, so we had to move. So we had to find somewhere for it anyway.
What neighbor complains about having a pizza
Clearly
bus?
not one that came over for those driveway parties where I was cooking free pizza for everyone. Not one of those neighbors.
Feel free to move into our neighborhood if you
seriously.
want to.
Yeah, not one of them. We just we needed a place anyway, and then you have to have a kitchen anyway. And then I just been bugging them literally for like Trucks and Taps was like a big reason I moved here. There's nothing like that in Vegas, and I've always told them you're slacking. Like there's so many like Sonics or just open air places, or there should be a food truck hub for there being 1,000 food trucks in Vegas or whatever there is. There's like a ton, and there's not. So that was really cool here that someone had that. So yeah, it was just I just kept bugging them for like a year. I was like, whenever there's space, there ended up being space, and they let us in. But the game changer part of it is that we can open whenever we want. Like at a normal commissary, like my one in Vegas, it's a warehouse, and we're parked in the back behind a locked gate. It's not somewhere you can just open. So the fact that they have a patio, activities going on, pet friendly, kid friendly, full bar, other food. It's like it's an outdoor food court. Really, it's awesome. So
the game changer too came in that. Even last week or 2 weeks ago when the bus engine suddenly wasn't working anymore.
Yeah, that's huge for us.
That's huge. Now we can still open and have a place to sell while we try to figure out what's going on with the bus versus before not having a place like that to sell at. We just didn't open.
Yeah, it's not all pizza. Like I'm a YouTube mechanic too. Like I'm trying to fix, transmissions and all these things that I have no idea about. Otherwise, we can't go make money. So yeah, it's been really cool having that as an option for that. Everyone's like, oh, get a brick and mortar. We pretty much have one. You just have to come to Trucks and Taps, like, as long as we're there. That's essentially what that is. So that's, for us, that's really cool. I don't know. It expands the capabilities. We can do a lot more there. And everyone there, I've been to other commissaries for years in Vegas and a couple here. And there's not as many people in these other places, like, full-on cooking, like homemade things, because there's not really a provided kitchen in some of these places. It's just kind of storage. So being in a place where people are like cooking things from scratch, like all the time, and it smells awesome in there and stuff, it's been inspiring too, as far as like going to those different toppings that you were looking up and stuff.
Well, that's the thing. I was going to say, you guys have kind of developed like a community over there, because you and the other trucks are constantly posting pictures on Instagram of eating each other's food. You've taken stuff from the Dire Lion, like British pub food or fried chicken sandwiches from Burning Bridges, and you're putting them on pizza. It's fun to see you're not just working alongside these people, but you're cooperating with them and kind of making like a little found food family almost.
Yeah.
That's absolutely what it is.
It's an awesome vibe right now in there, I think.
It's great over there. Yeah.
Yeah. Lots of good food, lots of good people, just good intentions, and we're all just having fun. Yeah. And it's a cool spot. You've been there a bunch, Oh,
I love Trucks and Taps.
It's an awesome
the place is
spot.
legit.
Yeah.
So earlier you mentioned a second bus. If 0 is no idea of having a second bus and 100 is the second bus is happening, where are we right now?
50.
Okay. How do we?
I'd say that's fair. Yeah.
How do we move that closer to the 100?
Find me the bus.
Find you the bus. Okay.
Yeah.
You can find
You wanna
big
take-
buses all day long. You can find the little shorties all day long. Mid-size is kind of hard to find like an actual because then you have to think. I was just saying, I'm a YouTube mechanic now too, so you have to look at the engine and all these things. Like what year is it? So as rare as kind of like a mid-size bus is to come up, then there's all these other things I have to look at first to make sure I can even check it out. So I've been looking, but it's hard to find. So definitely, we're at a growth issue. As you talked about the sellouts, and we're just like, there's only
Tapped
so much
out.
space out there, and we're just like, the fridge is only so big and all these things. It's like we really can't do more than like 120 pizzas in a day, honestly, unless we somehow magically figure something out, which we probably will. We're pretty good at that. Figure out something. But so yeah, bus too, if we can find one, I'm down. I got a really good deal from a man, Tiki Sam, on an oven, so I can build the exact same bus pretty much again. I already have like the equipment pretty much waiting. So
I want someone in my life called Tiki Sam.
he's awesome.
That sounds like
Tiki
a
Sam.
sounds
Shout
like a
out
cool
Tiki
dude.
Sam. He's so awesome. Yeah, he's a good dude. His wife drew our pizza logo.
Okay.
She's awesome.
Talented one.
Yep.
All right. I want to hit you guys before we get out of here with some pizza quick hitters, if that's okay. One pizza topping for the rest of your life. What would it be?
Just one?
Just one. I'm going to put your feet to the fire.
Sausage for me.
Yeah. If we go out and order pizza, we almost always get sausage.
Italian sausage is so good. It's a pain in the butt to work with, but the flavor is awesome. So good.
That's why this marriage works. If you align on favorite pizza toppings, that's like the most important thing in marriage. That should be a part of marriage counseling, I think. Where was the best pizza you've ever eaten?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm bringing the heavy hitters.
I'm probably thinking what you're thinking, maybe.
What would you say? I don't know.
Lino's.
Oh. Yeah, Lino's or Capri, places he grew up at.
Back in Rockford, Illinois.
Rockford, Illinois. Yeah,
Izzy-
we've eaten a lot of pizza around, and not many
Lino's.
people know about it, but Rockford, Illinois has some of the
See,
most
Izzy
legit.
knows.
Yeah. Look at that face
Izzy's
on a
smiling,
kid.
yeah. That's the
don't
face that
lie.
says yes.
Yeah, something about the pizza. I grew up in Rockford, Illinois, and everyone's got that. I think it's called. I don't know. There's like the acronym with the letters or whatever. Is that what it's called? There's one for like pizza I grew up eating or something like that. It's called. So everyone kind of has theirs, but you don't know about Rockford, Illinois pizza unless you know about Rockford, Illinois pizza. I'm just gonna say that. There's nothing about it anywhere else really.
No.
So.
I haven't found it anywhere else.
But there's a place called Lino's, tavern style, legit. Has these big old 1940s ovens, these big old rotating things that have been in there forever. And then there's another place called Capri. They unfortunately had a fire like a year and a half ago, but they're rebuilding. So looking forward to getting back there when they rebuild.
Okay, I asked Cherish this question earlier, so now I'm going to ask you. Favorite special pizza you've ever made?
Like different than what's on our menu, or just like
Yeah.
whenever?
Something crazy, whatever that means to you, whether it was just like just this absolutely crazy idea that came together, or maybe it was.
You know, I like that one everyone
Okay.
hated, even because I see the potential to it. I think it was awesome.
I don't remember which
Okay,
one that is.
Oh, you'll remember when I tell you the Disneyland one.
Oh,
I think it was awesome. Well, it was a.
would be hot dogs, pickles, and peanut butter. Disneyland has like a corn dog, but it's a hot dog shoved inside like a big old pickle, and then they
And then cornbread,
batter
and
it
then
like
deep fried.
a corn dog,
And then they
you
served it with peanut butter.
scoop it with peanut butter. I did not eat it.
I don't blame you.
Dan's face says it all.
I'll try anything one time. So I would try
One time.
it. I think that would be a one and done for me. But who knows? 10
they
years
had-
ago, if you would have told me peanut butter on a burger, I never would have eaten it.
Right?
And now I love peanut
And
butter
it's
on a burger.
so
So who
good.
knows?
Yeah, I don't know. It's got sweet. It's got salty. It's got weird.
It's got a lot of weird, buddy.
I don't know. I like if I think of just crazy that I think that one has potential if you put them on in the right fashion. I don't know. We just kind of threw it together and it was like, this is fun.
It was literally right after we got back from Disneyland, and he was like, "I want to try this."
My straight up though, like, I think my favorite collab type of like creation that we've done would be the jerk chicken. Oh yeah, jerk chicken from my man Ryan from Yod Patty in Las Vegas. Trying to get a move here, Ryan. Salary job. I'm still telling you every time I see you, Ryan, come out. I'm trying to get him to move here and work with us.
I mean,
fingers crossed, dude. You're gonna love his food.
He would have. He has the best Jamaican food ever.
I'm here for jerk.
Dude, if he moves here, But yeah, we do a collab with, he makes jerk chicken, really good Jamaican food. So we'll put his jerk chicken on a pizza, and it's got like lemon zest and scallions and
lime zest.
Sorry, lime zest, better than lemon. Yeah, I don't remember what else, but it was so good.
Okay, we talked online a little bit about this, but now I want to make it public, just so we make sure we make it happen. A restaurant Hoppen pizza special. We talked about. And
we got to figure it out.
And this can be adjusted, but it's some combination of pepperoni, caramelized onions, cream cheese, and Mike's Hot Honey. I'm not sure exactly what that looks like yet, but I'm speaking it into existence right now. So all these people in this room and people watching and listening, they're like, oh, that sounds amazing. Look, everybody wants it.
I told them
eyes are all lit up.
I think we should infuse the cream cheese with the Mike's Hot Honey into the cream cheese.
That sounds fantastic.
We've never played with cream cheese. Honestly, we had never really heard of it till we got here.
Yeah, this is a Midwest thing. It's not a...
okay.
Yeah, we don't... Yeah, but it was good. I've tried it a few times, and it's good. But
we're fat. We like our cream cheese.
I'm thinking that Mike's Hot Honey cream cheese would be pretty sick.
That does sound really good, honestly.
I'm not going to deter you from that. Last question. Does pineapple belong on pizza?
Of course. What do you mean?
Oh, dissent. Look at this.
No.
Did you not hear the pizza I just told you about?
That's true. Pineapple's like the most common thing you use.
Yeah, seriously.
Okay, but in all seriousness, you guys have turned something that was just a passion project a couple of years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, and you've made a legitimate business out of it that has succeeded in not just one market, but now 2. What would your advice be to somebody who's just doing something on the side and they're really enjoying it, but they're kind of thinking about taking that leap? What would your advice to them be?
Follow your passion. Don't fold for anybody. You know, we had people when we were starting our food truck out there trying to tell us where we could go and how to do it and all this stuff, and we didn't yield. We're like, no, this is our business. This is how we're going to do it. This is what we want to do. And I think that's been a big factor in our success is we just do what we want to do.
Do what you want to do within your capabilities, for sure. Don't let something discourage you. Someone else did it, or even if they didn't, say you're the one that did it. Like just go do it. Yep. Otherwise, what are you going to think about next week if you decided not to, right?
You're going to be thinking about that missed opportunity.
Absolutely, you are. Yep. Why not?
You're going to have mistakes and problems.
What are you going to live twice?
I don't think so.
I mean, that'd be sweet. Maybe, but you don't know, right? So just go for it. Just I don't know. For me, I said earlier, I kind of like risk. I don't know. Life happens once. I've done a lot of weird, risky things and had a lot of fun jobs in my life, and it's never not worked out. So until it doesn't work out, I'm just gonna. That's what I would say. Just go for it. You know.
Just keep obviously putting peanut butter on pizza and just see what happens.
Just be smart about it. Put peanut butter on pizza.
There's one takeaway from the podcast. That's it. Peanut butter and pickles on pizza. All right. So
what a scary moment. No one else liked that but me.
Ugh, it was so gross.
We're gonna wind down a little bit here, but this is the point where you said earlier, I'm not gonna say we have the best pizza. I'll say it as a third party. This is one of the best pizza spots in Omaha. One of my absolute favorites. You've made me fall in love with Detroit style in a way that I didn't know that was a love that I needed in my life, and now I do. But I think if anyone who's eaten at Izzy's, they can it makes sense why it's so good. You guys shred your own cheese. You make your own dough. Every social media post that you guys put out, that's you guys. You don't have a marketing department or anything. If you come to the bus, it's going to be you two on the bus, maybe Izzy, Mike, Cherish's dad. Like, this is a... Steve. What did I say?
We might get a mic. I don't know.
I'm sorry, Steve.
We'll get a mic.
No.
He has been called
Okay,
worse.
Steve, Mike, whatever his name is. Steve is awesome.
Steve is awesome. Thank you, Steve.
But I think that's so much of what goes into your success is you guys care so much, and it's a family operation. And I think just listening to you guys talk about pizza, you can tell how much you care. That comes through in the product. Thank you guys so much for for coming out and for cooking pizzas for all these people and for coming on the podcast again. Like, this is your day off, and you came on a Dopey podcast. Like, I sincerely appreciate your time.
Never a day off, man. You're welcome.
Never.
I'm always down. Thank you, man. And thank you. I'd like to just thank you, too, because you know what a help you've been to us. You clearly, I think, hopefully you know that. You had us on before. You've really talked about us a lot. You just lied to all these people about how much you love our food.
Did I lie?
No. Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness,
Yeah,
dude.
that's the background picture
It's on
my
his
phone.
lock screen. Wow.
Most people have their dogs or maybe their wife or something. I have pizza.
My man. But no, on just on a local business level too. Like, thank you for doing what you do, man, because it really helps us out a lot, and it's fun to just do something like this. There's not every day we get to come down and hang out with Dan Hoppen on a live podcast, so this is pretty cool, right?
Honestly, I'm just inspired by people like you, and I think that stories like yours need to be told, and I'm going to do whatever I can to shine the spotlight on you guys because you deserve it. So, with that, Omaha, as always, thanks for eating with us.